welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a recap of week 24 and 25. 3, 2, 1, go! So currently this is actually the end of week 25. I'm actually on my way to go see Wicked for the second time. I don't know if you can see my sweatshirt, but it's a super fun zippity tees Wicked thing. I finally get to go see Wicked in the appropriate attire, but I'm meeting up with a friend. But I figured I would just kind of throw in kind of what's been going on for the past couple weeks since St Jude Marathon. The reason why I didn't do like a weekly thing, and this is just a compilation, is because I haven't done much of anything besides just a little bit of walking, a little bit of balloon lady interval on the treadmill, because ran a marathon, so I was just recovering. Took it really easy. Yeah, so here's a little taste of what's been going on. Character stop. Same sweatshirt, different day, and I have a big dog in my lap. All right, Sadie, you gotta go over there. Go over there. Go over there. And yes, I'm sitting on the floor in my bedroom, slightly messy hair, because it's the day before Christmas Eve, and this is what it is. I wanted to show you my rundisney tree that I've started with my metal replicas. I need to get some lights on it. It needs some lights, but anyway, so as you saw, a lot of the past 2 weeks has been just a lot of rest, easing back into running. Took it super slow because I didn't want to feel burnout, didn't want my body to be tired, because I still got Dopey to finish. Getting to go to Florida for a couple days was fun, a little bit of warmer weather, but like you saw, we're back up here now. And my plan for week 26 was to do a longer hike because I wanted to have a longer distance on my feet a couple weeks before going to Dopey, just because my marathon was so early in the training plan. That's not going to work out, but what I do have planned should be equally as fun, so stay tuned for that next week. Like I said, this is week 24/25, so we actually got two chapters to do in here, but they actually go very well with each other. So the first being Victories. He actually talks about the story of when the Boston Marathon had the bombing, and he was supposed to run that race, ended up pulling out because of injury, still went to do some press and stuff like that, but was flying home the day of the race, and so he was in the air when the attack happened. And so when he landed, he had all these messages of people making sure that he was okay. They weren't sure if he had left yet, and he found out all about that. And so going into the next Boston Marathon after that, he was very determined, as were any Americans running in that race, that they wanted an American to win, to take back that course, take back that race, and do the America is strong thing. And so he shares the story that, very quickly into the race, he realized it wasn't going to be his day, but that Meb, everyone knows Meb. I'm not going to try to say his last name. He was doing really well. He was holding that, that lead pack. It was doing very well. And so, Ryan felt, I want to do everything I can to help Meb have a really good chance at winning this race, which Meb did. And what he says in here is, I'm sharing this story because that day I realized that sometimes the biggest victories we experience are not our own. They are victories we can share, and because we played a part in someone's win by encouraging them and supporting them. It can be hard to take joy in another person's victory, especially if we want that victory for ourselves. But I found that I can take joy in someone else's triumph if I can look at the bigger picture and see my role as a part of a collective. And then he goes on, talking about, how his definition of success, based on that, has really changed. And he always tries to keep that in mind. And he says in here, when I open up my definition to include the success of others and the collective, I'm much more satisfied. And he talks about how Rick Warren, in his book, The Purpose-Driven Life, that the first sentence says it's not about you. And I completely agree with that, victory, success sentiment, is that it can be so satisfying to watch others achieve their goals and, help them get there. It's, it's an amazing thing to do. And I feel like the running community does a really good job of that, especially at Run Disney. I mean, all I see is encouragement when I go, and such amazing stories you hear there. And so to go along with that, the next chapter that he has in here is called Seasons. And of course, you may guess that this chapter is about when he decided to retire, and how it was kind of hard for him. And he tried for several years to not have that be the case, but he took every avenue he felt like he could take to stay in the game. It was his time to find a new passion, a new dream. And that was coaching, it was helping his wife, he got into weightlifting, all of these different things. And he still runs, obviously, but just not professionally anymore. But what he says is, often lessons we learn in one season are meant to help us in future seasons. So even if you are coming out of a rough season, take solace in the fact that it was not a waste. The lessons you learn through your trials will help you on your journey in this new season. And then he shares Ecclesiastes 3, which is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. And Ecclesiastes chapter 3 says, there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to shun embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And Ryan says, I love this passage because it captures what I experienced in my transition from running, that nothing is meant to last forever, and that we must be able to identify the end of one season so we can enter the new season. Things can get confusing, hard, and frustrating for us whenever we try to drag one season into another. We are meant to carry with us the lessons we learned, but we must keep moving forward to find new ground. And I love that. And it, reading that just always reminds me that God always wants the best for us. And so when we feel a season ending, it's because God has something new and exciting He wants us to learn, wants us to experience. So this Dopey thing is definitely a season. And I don't know if this will ever be a season I will enter into again. We'll see. But you learn a lot doing this type of thing and getting to do stuff like this and share it with anyone that watches these videos. So let's see, week 24 and 25, I know that this is about the time that if you're following the actual weeks on the Jeff Galloway plan, that we're doing our last long simulations to get ready for Goofy or Dopey. And I hope that those are going well, that they're giving you confidence. And if they don't turn out exactly like you plan, that's okay. It's all about, getting into your head that your body can go that distance. And it's so hard this time of year with the holidays and the weather, and I did a lot more inside recently than I really would like to, but you know, I got this cough that won't go away, and it started to go away when I went to Florida and it was warmer, but it came back to the cold weather, and so I'm just trying to keep that under control. And yeah, but I hope those simulations went well. So leave me a comment if you were training for Goofy or Dopey. How'd your simulation go? Did you learn anything, just like you talked about in the book? Did you learn any lessons from that last simulation that you're going to carry with you to marathon weekend? So be sure to give this video a like and subscribe. Like I said, I have kind of a fun, longer effort activity that I'll be doing next week. And part of it involves my outfits for each of the 4 races. So be sure to, like I said, subscribe and tune in next week, because I will be debuting all 4 of my outfits for Dopey weekend and the explanation behind each one. Always remember that you are God's masterpiece, and I will see you next week, week 26. We only have, what, I guess technically 2.5 weeks, and we'll all be down in Orlando. See you next time.